Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Jaws Gaming, and today I'm going to be going over my opinions on when a brand new 3D Mario game will hit the system. It could be through a Switch 2 edition, it could be through a remake, it could be through a new game entirely. But today I will be going over all of my opinions for a brand new 3D Mario game, some remakes, some Switch 2 editions, all that fun stuff. And I'm going to be going over when I think we will see it, and the percentage chance that I think we will end up seeing these shown off this year. This is just being shown off. This isn't an actual true release. So let's start off with what has the developers behind 3D Mario been doing? They, of course, have been making games, but what games over the Nintendo Switch era? So the developer behind 3D Mario is none other than EPD10, or sometimes referred to as EPD Tokyo, or referred to fans as the 3D Mario team. They have worked on a number of games throughout the Nintendo Switch's lifespan. They were a key part of Odyssey, which Donkey Kong Bonanza seems to be pulling a lot from. They are also, if you wait another 2 years, they were this time a co-developer. This means they weren't the main developer. They were a co-developer on Mario Maker 2. Then the year after that, they produced Mario 3D All-Stars. And that game, they were the full developers on. But that was just 3 older games being emulated on the console, so that wasn't that hard of work. And then the year after, we got Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. But if you look at the credits for those games, you'll actually see that it was also a co-production. So the only true games they've made throughout the Switch's lifespan is Odyssey and 3D All-Stars. And 3D All-Stars was just a collection of games, older games. So that really means that there will be a new game developed by them soon. And many people, including myself, have been speculating that that game will be none other than Donkey Kong Bonanza. Donkey Kong Bonanza seems to be very similar to Odyssey from everything we've seen from press and from the Nintendo Treehouse. So we really think that this is developed by EPD10 or EPD Tokyo. And that's great if it is, because they have such a good track record. But does that mean 3D Mario is actually going to be that far away? Because when you look at it, it typically takes, if you look at EPD10's or EPD Tokyo's track record, it seems that it takes them roughly 4 years to make a game. And if you look at Super Mario 3D World, the original, in 2013, then 4 years later we got Odyssey. So it seems to be around 4 years. But it's been actually 8 years since Odyssey. And that means that they are probably working on something else that they're hiding from us. And the thing is, a lot of development studios, especially at Nintendo, like to hold back their games. Like Fire Emblem Engage was held back like over a year just to get a good release date timing, which I think is very interesting because they might be able to make more money off sales if they just release it immediately. But if they don't, because Donkey Kong Bonanza is finished. I'm just going to say that. It is finished. They might be scraping out some bugs, but besides that, the game is finished because it's literally, people are already playing the demo build, which is going to hide some content, but if they made a demo build, then there's probably the main build is also done. That's probably how it's going to go. So we can make the decision that they finished Donkey Kong Bonanza like 4 years ago, we can say. And they've been done for a while at this point. So that means they're working on another game. And that game, they have a couple of options. They could make a 3D Mario. Or they could make a 2.5D Mario. They have a lot of options. And since they have a lot of options, that means that they can do a lot of stuff. but they're definitely making a 3D Mario. But the problem is, when will that game release? Well, an example of this is Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. That was actually ready at the early beginning, I believe, of 2020. It was ready at the beginning of 2020, and then it got holded back like a full year. So the 3D Mario might already be done, honestly. And I think it is done. So they really are just holding it back. And that means they just can't release 2 3D games in that close proximity. So I think Odyssey, or not Odyssey, the new game, it could be Odyssey 2, but I don't really think it will be. I think that the new 3D Mario game will release holiday of 2026. That is what I am thinking. You guys can say what you think in the comments down below, but let's move on to the next topic. A Nintendo Switch 2 edition of a Nintendo Switch 1 game. So, when you think about it, I think that a Nintendo Switch 2 edition of a Switch 1 game is possible. But getting an Odyssey Switch 2 edition is not going to happen because it already got a free update. And they're not just going to do it for older games, in my opinion. So they don't really have a chance of doing it. Like, I don't actually think it's going to happen. It'd be cool if they did it, but the only options would be a remake of an older game. So it got remade again for adding new content to an older game. That definitely sounds like a good idea to me. It sounds like a horrible idea, actually. So if that's not a choice, they can now do a remake of an older game. And this is probably going to happen. Let's look at all the 3D games that aren't on the Switch family. They are going to be Super Mario Galaxy 2 and Super Mario 3D Land. That's surprisingly all of them. Those are all the 3D Mario games that are not on Switch. So we could get Galaxy 2, or we could get 3D Land ported. And I think that would be awesome. And so many people would buy it, and so many people would look forward to it. And that's definitely going to happen. We will definitely get at least one of those games by the end of the Switch 2. I don't think it's going to happen, though. They need to show how good and new the console is. And they're in the first 2 years-ish. They're going to prioritize having only new games, pretty much. Because having new games shows how new and exciting the console is. And if it's just remakes of older games, well, what if I already had the older console? Why would I ever buy it? And why would I want to get the console for it? It just doesn't make sense. Which is why I think it's not going to happen in the first few years. It's going to happen eventually. One of those games, at least, will be ported to the Switch 2. But I don't think it will happen anytime soon. And by anytime soon, I mean within the next 2 years. And that is what I think for 3D Mario for the Nintendo Switch 2. Thank you everyone for watching today's video. I put a lot of work into these, and I'd really appreciate it if you guys could subscribe to the channel. Maybe leave a comment down below. And guys, I really appreciate it. And leave a like, comment, you guys know what the deal. Subscribe, comment, leave a like, and I will see you guys in the next video. See you guys.